to give us an opportunity, Dr. K.K. Agarwal, to just present him with a token of our affection. Thank you, sir, so much. We have one gentleman here who continues unabated, unstopped in the area of education. He is as tough as we knew him 15 years ago. The greatest thing he did was that he planted us right. I think the gardeners normally know that job. It is not that a tree is not good or the soil is not good, the sun is not good, the watering is not good, but they just know where to put the tree, where to position it. And it was none other than our first academic auditor and advisor, Dr. J.P. Gupta. Let's give him a good big round of applause. Thank you, sir, for coming. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations to all. I would now request Mr. Kaul to address us on our way forward.
I have a small, a very pleasurable activity to perform before I start. May I request Dr. Shivpuri to come on the stage, please? Dr. Shivpuri is a distinguished professor from Delhi University. He's recently joined us, and he has helped us and Dr. Ur at the Dehradun to fulfill our dream to become a full energy infrastructure university. We already had power, oil and gas, renewables, but nuclear was missing. So this year, may I request Dr. M. Ramachandran, please, to unveil the M.Tech nuclear program. Shivpuri, sir. With this, we become a full energy university, and I compliment Dr. Shivpuri and his team to have brought us this far, and best of wishes for this program. Ladies and gentlemen, I was asked to speak on the future. Well, I believe the future is in this room. The future is what our elders, well-wishers, advisors, stakeholders, whether it is the government of Uttaranchal, Ministry of HRD, great scientists of this country, great thinkers of this country, the 35 international universities we deal in, whatever is happening in the universe of education, whatever our students tell us, I think that is the future. We are very happy that over 5,000 to 6,000 students today carry our flag in various companies, in over 500 companies. They are in Manhattan, they are in Abu Dhabi, they are in Australia, they are in India, they are everywhere. And so much so that on some of them, we are really, really proud, to the extent that we become very sentimental and emotional when we meet them. I recently met our roll number 001 in Bangalore, and Shilpa Sayal, And what a fantastic transformation. She is a petroleum engineer, 6 different nationalities people report to her in Schlumberger, daughter of a postmaster from Terry, and a fantastic individual who has stayed on offshore platforms, on fields, etc. And she in turn is inspiring so many others that they can do it. So I think our past is telling what our future is going to be. There are 2 or 3 indicators of that. First of all, the so-called experiment of vector-based education or industry-based education is a big success. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't have been celebrating today. If it is, then it needs to be replicated not only across India, but across the world. So our model is ready to take it to Vietnam, to Qatar, to Africa, which is just booming. We have received invitations from South America, from Brazil, Colombo. So I think this concept of energy, infrastructure, transportation needs to be replicated across the world. And why not? 35% to 42% of the GDP of most emerging economies revolve around it. So if we can have a hotel management graduate, why can't we have an infrastructure engineer? And how long we will keep on creating civil engineers, mechanical engineers? Not that they are not required, but I think parallel efforts needs to also be there in creating vector-based. So that is one point of the future, that if we have perfected one pilot, where can we take it and how fast we can take it? The second part is to do with governance. We have proven the fact in this country, which is the most difficult in terms of regulatory, in terms of state, central, and various stakeholders, that a university can be formed and can be governed spotlessly by a set of individuals, professionals, funded by a bank loan, governed by the elders, the professionals from the industry, and it can run on a self-sustaining basis. If this is proven, what stops anyone in this country to do the same? So this dream is no longer a dream. It is merely a project where people just needs to have stamina and resilience to do it many, many more times. And when we hear so many colleges closing, so many seats going vacant, we fail to understand that if we are getting 20,000 applications for 1,200 seats, that would mean that there is something intrinsically wrong with the way people were taking the business of education. I think maybe they are taking it as an education business. And there is one gentleman who kept us on this thing on even keel. And I'm so glad that gentleman has taken a flight from Patna this morning and is among us. That is none other than Dr. Pandey. Please, ladies and gentlemen. We had a distinguished personality like Dr. Pandey among us, a hardcore academician who was among us to teach us young brats from the corporate that yes, you can do a lot with the industry, but do not forget what happens in the classroom, what happens in the library, what happens in the labs is the fundamental part of how do you create students. Do not move away from it. Do not do things at the cost of that. You can have many fancy things around that, but make sure never lose focus of the basic education and fundamental part. So we are very grateful to you, Dr. Pandey. We would every day remember that and make sure that whatever we plan, we will never forget that. So second part is to do is that it is possible. It is possible, ladies and gentlemen. You can do it, right? And you can do it anywhere you want to do it. So that is the second part, and that is what is telling us is, let's create a band of leaders among ourselves from lateral entry That is the future. Who could go and replicate this into different markets for different sectors. And we definitely have a plan for India to do 2 more universities. One has already started in Meghalaya on this lines, and at least 5 to 6 more campuses in the next 10 years. The third part of the future is that India's basic weakness has not been so much in faculty, that has not been so much in terms of institutions and their infrastructure, because both of them can be handled. Basic problem has been the area of research. How much research we are prepared to commit ourselves to. And that is what we have taken earnestly among, very, very eagerly, and we have found in the last 3, 4, 5 years, what would it take to do research, what kind of people can do research, and how do you reorient people towards research, which takes long gestation period. So I'm very happy to say that the next 10 years is a research phase where we are going to make sure that we have at least 50 patents in 10 years' time, which has been properly commercialized. That is why we have not done a fancy thing. We have just made a chula, which works on all fuels. And that is our first patent. So we want to give a very strong signal, and we have already received commercial inquiries for that to be mass produced. So we want to be doing very practical research. In terms of faculty and infrastructure, we have only 2 things to submit. In the next 10 years, our focus will change, not from academic people who can do consulting or research to corporate or industry practicing people who could be teachers. So that is the trend you will see, that having a base of 300 to 500 teachers, I think that will change to now go for practicing people in the industry, looking for an academic stint, and they will come in as consultants more. They will do less of teaching, more of research and consulting. So it will add to the pool, and the texture of the education with that will change. In terms of infrastructure, we now believe that we have proven to the industry that this model has worked. We have created the campus, and we are beginning to now see corporates standing up and trying to support us. We are going in for a drilling school. We are going for many such projects which are in collaboration with the industry. And the greatest enthusing part of it is our incubation center. We've already incubated 3 companies. One we just incubated has already won very attractive contracts. And of course, in the next 10 years, we want to make sure that 25 to 50 businesses employing